Hello and welcome to the DOVECOTE. It is uh, March 18th. It's like 6:59, almost 7 o'clock p.m. EST. And you're watching episode 20 of the DOVECOTE with Polychromic. Polly, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, man, Polly does look really cute. This PNG tuber is so cute. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Howdy, I'm Polly. Um, I use she and he pronouns. Um, I very occasionally write games. Um, I do a lot of art stuff as well. I draw. I write. I do things. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited to be on the show.
Yeah, I think well, I mean, maybe not most notably, but like stuff the thing that I know you from, or the thing that I mean, I know you from a lot from I know you from being my friend, but I also, uh, the place where I was introduced to you was You Are a Wizard. Uh, let me,
Yeah, your
yeah,
wizard has been my enduring legacy for a hot minute.
yeah,
Not mad about that at all because it actually slaps.
it kind of fucks the table bottom
Yeah, it
ping
does.
game. You Are a Wizard, which is really good. It's made in MS Paint. Um, apparently I own it 3 times. um,
Yeah,
you know,
I probably own it several times as well.
yeah. Um,
Um,
and also you have art in like a couple of pretty notable like TTRPG projects, including Yuzeba's and there was that
oh yeah,
sports one. Did that ever happen?
yeah, tournament arc.
Tournament arc. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. I completely forgot that I could like talk about that as well. I
Yeah.
suppose it's very pertinent.
You have a heart
Yeah,
of
I did art
gold.
for.
Don't let them
I was
take
on
it
the art
from
team for
you.
Yazibas, and I also did some art for tournament arc, um, which was I think that was back in like 2020, 2022 or 2021. Um, but yeah, and I do art for my own games. Obviously, I draw. I like to draw.
Yeah. I guess I'll ask first. Are you working on anything that folks would be interested in? Are you working on anything recently?
Um, I mean, yes, but I think that's yeah. I mean, I've been working on stuff for a while, and I have quite a few projects, just like kind of marinating on
Mhm.
the back burners. Um, I have a stovetop that's like 16 back burners, um, and one forward burner, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I really want to kind of make an effort this year, especially to like dig back into um, kind of my old catalog of projects and bring up some stuff that um, has just been sitting around for a while, um, and make something of it. Just like put it out, you know?
Yeah, I remember you had a lot of really cool work in progress stuff. Back like back I guess back when we talked more about that sort of stuff. But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I guess it was because I went back to school that kind of I didn't step out of the TTRPG space, but there was a definite like hiatus
Mhm.
in my game design participation, the community and everything. Um, and then after I graduated, there was just like, well, now I'm trying to find work and everything. It's crazy how far a master's degree will take you nowadays, which is to say, not far at
Not
all.
very yeah, no, I'm having the exact
Yeah,
same
exactly.
experience. Yeah.
Not very far at
Uh
all.
yeah.
My most recent game, I was actually very much about my unemployment experience. It's called We Regret to Inform You. Um, and it's a little zine simulator game that's pretty awful to play
Mhm.
by design. I should say by design. Um, but yeah, that was fun, and it was something that I made it to coincide with a bundle that kind of was put out to help me out with living um living expenses and stuff. But yeah, that's my most recent game. If people want to check it out, totally should.
Yeah,
I
give it a
think
look.
my yeah, because it's I'm actually pretty proud of it. Um, and if you play it, God help you, but also you should tell me about
Yeah, talk about your experience with it. I have not played it yet because I think it's gonna be. If I decide to play it, I want it to be at a point where it's not gonna be too close to home. Honestly, like,
it. No, yeah, it is. It was a very it, fair warning, content warning for anybody who wants to go and check out that game. It is a very like personal vent project. Um, and yeah, I mean, I there's like a whole page of content warnings, and I have it in like full caps on the page as well. So like, I'm not expecting anybody to go in and get slapped. Um, but yeah, it was a very like personal piece just about my like frustration and well, yeah, job hunt stuff sucks.
yeah, it's rough. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll kind of move on from there. Are there any games that you're playing recently or reading recently that you're like really excited about? And also, I gotta drink water, so you talk about that while I do that.
Okay. Um, that I that's interesting. If I was reading any games recently,
Yeah.
um, not really, which is kind of sad. I have wanted to kind of start a game. Oh wait, you know what? Wait, wait.
Thanks, Mercy.
That's a lie. Because I did recently. I have been playing with a kind of semi-regular group Mothership for the first time,
Oh, interesting.
and I love it. Um, I'm I have the pleasure of playing it with just kind of the most autistic guy ever, who is really good at running it and also has like yeah, he just loves to show me the like kind of behind the scenes obsidian kind of files that he's got for it. Um, but like it, I yeah, I really liked it compared to a lot of the other games that I've played. A lot of the other horror games that I've played, which for the most part, my experience is just kind of like Monster of the Week.
Right. Yeah.
Um, just because like it's very kind of like pick up and go. There's not a lot of setup at all. It's fast. It's scary. Um, I also did play man, what's that other game called? It's called Dread, the one with the
Hmm.
Jenga tower.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of spooky games have been playing recently, apparently.
A lot of
Um,
spookers.
a lot of spookers and Dread. I also really loved, and I at some point want to run games in the both of those systems because like they're yeah. I mean, there's just something about like horror games that I really love. Um, and there is, I guess I just felt something that really spoke to me in both those games. Um, Probably because they were just kind of small, cute little terrible packages of
They
yeah.
were
I like games.
concise.
They are concise, and I appreciated that about them.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Um, yeah, I still have not actually gotten around to Mothership. It seems really cool though. Um, I was Monster of the Week. Who made Monster of the Week? I guess it's just Evil Hat. Just like Evil Hat
Yeah, as a
as a
entity.
collective.
And
Okay.
it's a
Developed by Michael
PBTA game as
Sands.
well.
I think it's kind of mid, very personally.
No, no, it totally is. And like my experience with it is purely behind, I guess, the like GM screen or the Keeper of Mysteries. The Keeper screen. I was running all of the games that I ran in it, and it was always one of those things where I was like, I just kind of felt myself struggling against it. Being like, I want to run this particular thing in this particular way, but like the game itself just wasn't really um cooperating. It's great if you want to run like a campy kind of like, I mean, it's called Monster of the Week.
Yeah.
Um but if you're looking for like spooks and scares, you go pick up Mothership.
Yeah. Hey, Audiovore, thank you for the 20. Well, I appreciate the donations. Well, thank you.
Doves.
Thanks, folks. uh,
We
I'm
love
being.
Audiovore here in the DOVECOTE.
We do love Audiovore. Audiovore's a top 10 #1 ultra. Is Audiovore a VIP? Why is Audiovore? Who didn't make Audiovore a VIP? Me. Um, but yeah, I really I enjoy, like, I think I I've talked a lot about this, but I think I think it's like important to not just be like, I think pastiche, it can be overused in TTRPGs sometimes, and I really enjoy when a thing is like, no, we're actually gonna make something that's scary, right?
No, totally. And yeah, like I guess that's the thing that I really appreciate. Like there are no bones when it comes to like Dread, for instance, where it's like you got a Jenga tower,
Mhm.
you just mess around, you're gonna die. Um, but even when it comes to like taking uh taking a lot of inspiration from like a story, a movie, a TV show that you watched, like Mothership. I mean, it's Alien, right? But I think it did it really. I think it did it well.
Yeah, I guess
I didn't
it
think it.
is pastiche technically,
Yeah, no, totally. But like
but
when it
in like
comes
a
to
good
like,
way.
yeah. I guess when it comes to
It goes
Monster of the Week,
beyond.
it's one of those things where it's kind of like they're throwing a whole bunch of stuff in a pot.
Mhm.
Um, and they're taking a ton of inspiration from all over the place, and it's like some of it works, some of it is just kind of like, ooh. um I guess I like my TTRPGs like I like my knives. Sharp.
Yeah, sharp,
Sharp.
refined.
Refined. Even. In the kitchen.
In the kitchen, on the, what's the fucking, uh wait, I have I have someone named Audiovore as a moderator, but not, hang on. We're discovering things about my Twitch channel. Here we go. I'm giving you the sword, Audiovore. Thank. How did I never notice that? That's so funny. Oh my god. Um,
It's my old. Oh no.
that's your old account. Okay, well now you have power and might and strength. So, yay. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted by it by stream stuff. This will happen. Um, uh, I would love. Let me think about other stuff. Are there any games like that you played in the past that you'd really like to talk about? Any games that are like really really strong that you've like played and enjoyed in the past?
Hmm. I mean, here's the thing when it comes to my game playing experience. I don't have a very like rich, dynamic, like varied portfolio when it comes to games I've run for. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure we're going to get to the one big game that I've played probably the most later when we talk about that one thing. Um, but like, yeah, the games that I've played are like, there's just not that many.
What have you played? We can talk about what do you play the most of then? What is that game?
Well, it's funny that you mention it. It's this little it's this little like indie. Probably haven't even heard of it. It's called Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, I know that one.
I
That's
know. Oh,
the
whoa! You must be really.
Yeah, I'm
You
pretty
must be really
indie.
plugged in.
I'm pretty damn indie. You could even say that. Yeah, I know all about. That's the game that that's that game that all that's the game that all the people play. That's the game
Yeah,
that was based off of Baldur's Gate 3, right?
that. Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the adaptation, the tie-in RPG that was released with Baldur's Gate.
That's the
Um,
Pathfinder ripoff.
yeah, like the majority of my TTRPG experiences um is in Dungeons and Dragons. And it's funny when I think about like my experience actually playing games versus like how or like my approach when it comes to like game design and stuff. Um like somebody asked me recently, it was Logan, um, who he was like, "Do you consider Wizard Game a lyric game? Do you consider my game You Are a Wizard a lyric game?" And I was
Yeah,
like, "That's fascinating."
I think it
That's a
is.
fascinating question. Like, it kind of is if you want it. Um, but like, I mean, my wife, Stargazer Sasha, was very like she really cut to the point when she was like the descriptor that I have for Wizard Game on there is something that she said tabletop and paint game. Um,
Mhm,
like I think Wizard Game is a paint game. I think
mhm.
most of my games are paint games where I'm just kind of like, this is the crayon doodle of game design. I'm just kind of like scratching something out. Um, and I am like in all likelihood never gonna play it myself. Um, but if somebody is so inspired and is so inclined to play it, I would love to hear. And when people do tell me that they play my games, I'm like, first of all, you're insane. Um, but like I'd love hearing about it because it's my games are I not to say that I don't design games with play in mind. I guess
Mhm.
I don't really. My games are just kind of like they're just kind of games.
Yeah,
And
they're just there.
if you want to yeah, they're just kind of there. Like they're like they're just kind of little guys. Um that was kind of a tangent.
Yo, what up?
It's
I guess
okay.
like when I read like when I read like D&D or um there's a lot or like Monster of the Week too. There's a lot about those games that feel like means to an end,
Mhm.
like rules and such. Um and a lot of and I guess I go when I design games, a lot of my like design kind of mindset is just kind of removing an end. Um or just having a very like abrupt or just kind of having a very abrupt or shocking end.
Yeah,
Or going to ends that just are like and in that sense, I suppose my games do have a lyric quality to them.
you want
Um,
something that's mean and light and scrappy, or no, maybe not mean, but
no,
lean,
no,
light and scrappy, and like
I would totally say mean.
mean. Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of my games are mean, and especially the ones that I haven't. Like a lot of my game projects are a lot meaner.
Mhm.
The ones that I haven't released, and it's because they're kind of meaner, where I'm just kind of like I'm having to grapple with them a little more. I am here. I'm on my computer. I'm wrestling wild animals. Um, that's kind of how that's kind of how game design goes.
Yeah,
Um,
I wrote a game. Actually still don't know if this game is gonna. I mean, ideally it sees the light of day. It's just like it's in a weird spot right now. I wrote a game called We Who Travel by Starlight, uh, very recently in like a day,
hmm,
and it has a mechanic. I, I would describe it as probably a table bottom game. I think it is in the same like it's in that same like
No,
really
totally.
scrappy realm where like it's not really fun to play for one player and potentially everybody at the table. Um, because it's about Zionism and like one person is like the Zionists basically. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. You might see it soon or you might not see it for a while. I don't know what's gonna happen with it, but
No,
I
yeah. Like those, like honestly, those kinds of games are, I guess they capture my imagination the most.
hmm,
Um, and I like it when a game is mean. I really
yeah,
do. We regret to inform you is just a very mean game.
yeah.
And I didn't make any bones about it. And like I appreciate that.
I also really enjoy when a game is like really gripping and like its specificity, I guess. Like
Yeah.
I think that's something that your games actually do really well, which is that they're not like, you know,
Oh,
here's here's how to play in this genre in a PBTA, or here's how to uh here's here's some adventuring materials and like some guys and some classes. Like you really get into some like, you know, some weird shit, which I always really enjoy.
thank you. And that reminds me, like, okay, this isn't a tabletop. It is very literally a tabletop game, but it is not a role playing game.
Mhm.
But it's kind of a role playing game. I played Oath recently.
Hmm.
Oath by Leader Games. It is the like legacy kind of grand strategy thing.
Oh,
Soviet, yeah. It's a, and they're from the same people that brought you Root,
okay,
which is
that
probably their
tracks.
most their more well known project. And Oath is a game that I've been wanting to play for a while, just because like I like Root. It's got cute little furries in it. Um, but that is also very indicative of the way that like I am a very, I'm gonna judge this book by its cover kind of kind of gal.
Hmm.
And like I played Root, um and Melina's in chat, so she's listening probably. Who I played Root, or who I played Oath with. Um and like I found it to be intensely frustrating, um for a number of reasons. But probably for the biggest is something that I realized while playing Oath. That's like I feel very strongly that, and this is kind of an insane thing to say, that like having a win condition spoils a game.
Huh.
Like the part of the thing with Oath is that you kind of like, it's the what part of the legacy function of Oath is at the end of each game, whoever wins kind of determines the win condition of the next game. Um, and it can be like you got to control the most territory by the time the game ends, or you need to be holding some kind of item, um, etc., etc. But then the game ends, and it's like I put all this like toil and stress and time, and it's just over,
Yeah.
and I lost. Um, which is a again, like I said, like part of the funny thing about games to me is that, and you could ask anybody I've ever played a game with, I'm like the whiniest player imaginable. I love to whine
Me
and to
too.
bitch and to complain. It's part it like for me it's part of the experience of playing a game, of just being like, this is the worst. I hate this. And then I something good happens and I'm like, actually, wait a minute, this is
This
the
game's
greatest
kind
game
of
ever made.
awesome. Yeah.
This game is kind of awesome. Let's keep playing.
Yeah.
Um and so I started writing a game in response to that, in response to Oath, and
Mhm.
it's the working title is called Hold Court. Um, and it's like a part board game, um, part role playing game, and the whole thing is that you are playing kind of a lord and you're looking over a fief, um, and you kind of have to like micromanage your fief through a ton of little tiny like terrible mini games. Um, and there is no win condition. There is only a lose condition, and it's inevitable. You're at some point going to get your head cut off because you
Got it.
mess up, you fuck up running your kingdom. Um, you're just gonna die, and like the only thing separating that from like the present moment is just how long you're able to like spin as many plates like at the end of sticks as you possibly can and like balance all of them properly before it all comes crashing down. Like it's like I want it to be a very painful experience,
Hmm.
a very like a Sisyphean experience. But like that to me, I was writing it and I was like, yes, now this is the game. Like
Yeah, it's
now
good.
we're getting into some game design territory.
Love to suffer, love to fear.
Love to suffer, love to fear, love to just like yeah, I mean it's I Hold Court is one of those I really want to release it at some point this year because
Yeah.
I'm very happy with what I've written. It reads a little bit like a how-to guide on how to do taxes, written by like a stoned wizard,
Hmm.
um, just kind of dourly explaining just kind of like how everything works to his liege. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I really want to write a game with a downward spiral. That seems very fun.
it is.
Yeah.
And I would love to read a game that you write on that along that vein. Um,
Oh, I kind of actually am. Me and Grief are working on a It Can Only Be Done, which is a game where it's a fantasy game, but you're moving from east to west, and the uh, the everything behind you is being consumed by a wall of cold that like kills everyone and like makes the land inhabitable or like uninhabitable. So
mhm.
you can't go back. You've limited resources. I think it will kind of have that vibe. I guess we'll have to see though.
I'm already loving
Yeah,
it.
I've been enjoying working on that. But yeah, um, are there any games that are coming out? Any games that are coming up that you're excited about that you'd like to talk about?
Are there any games coming out soon? You see, and but here's the thing, like I am honestly just kind of a little disconnected from the goings on of
Fair.
like what's coming out. By the way, I already told you this in private, but I would love to do it in person and on stream as well.
Mhm.
Congrats on a really successful Biotroph
Oh, thank you.
Kickstarter.
I love to
That
get
I am
Biotroph
excited
included.
about that one.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm fucking hyped to get that out. God, I'm very happy about that. I'm gonna have the money soon, which is like gonna be a little intimidating, but sometimes you do a thing well, and yeah,
Yeah, and it pays off.
yeah, and it
It's
pays
crazy.
off.
It's almost like you're really talented
Well,
and
thank
awesome.
you. You're really talented and awesome. Um,
Oh,
yeah. Uh, okay. I think. Oh shit! I actually did get the money. Okay. Uh,
woo!
I need to start doing some math. But I'll do that another time. No, I don't know anything about Warhammer. That's the reason why I didn't respond to that, Goblins. I don't know anything about it. Um, hey, Duck, thank you for the sub. A lot of fucking subs and bits
20
today.
month
Thank you,
subs,
folks.
20 doves in my coat.
But 20 doves in my coat. Uh, shall we talk about the news?
Yeah,
The happenings of the TTRPG sphere, the goings on of the day.
yeah.
Um, so first of all, this is kind of TTRPG news. It affects TTRPGs. Um, this is from I believe I don't know. I listen.
I think it was I think it was Future. Is that
y-
what it was?
Maybe it's Leo Schwartz and Jessica Matthews. I'm using 12 foot. I'm using 12 foot ladder because I don't want to pay for their subscription. So uh, the untold story of Kickstarter's crypto Hail Mary and the secret $100 million A16Z led investment to save its fading brand. Um, the short and simple of this is, do y'all remember when Kickstarter was going through that whole like, hey, we're gonna do crypto stuff, watch out, we're doing crypto stuff, smiles. Um, well, it turns out that they were actually being they were being like propositioned for like funding, like investing by a like big crypto investor, um, and they did not communicate that, didn't have to, and didn't, um, and it's fucked up. Like it significantly affected like the financial decisions that like I know people who uh big like big companies and indie companies that were like, I don't want to be on Kickstarter because of this, and they moved to like Indiegogo or like I mean, Usaba's for example moved to Indiegogo. Fucking things moved to like BackerKit and stuff, and it turned out the whole time, Duck moved to what was that? Was that Crowdfunder? I think for to change. Um, and it turns out the whole time this was because they were like being staked out by investors. It's nasty. It's
Yeah,
horrible.
when I because I heard about this when it dropped. It was just one of those things where it was like, oh, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like that's why they did that. Um, especially like especially like Kickstarter. Um, and like the article goes into a lot of like the kind of messy, fucked up corporate history that
Mhm.
they have. Um, but like I guess Kickstarter is one of those things where it's like why it's like why
Yeah.
it's like wait why but like why though and there was a I remember when that news came out and like everybody was just kind of like oh this turbo sucks because crypto turbo sucks um there was just also this question of like I guess I didn't know it wasn't known but even back then I guess I was just like oh I guess somebody's trying to pay for this.
Yeah.
There's like
Absolutely.
no other reason for this to be like, like what on earth is going on? There's a really good quote in the article from one of the fired like labor organizers um that kind of says like yeah these people the crypto evangelists were like coming in and everybody was like management was spinning this like emperor's new clothes type story
God.
but like the people on the ground who like actually do the work were just kind of like this is utterly unnecessary and it's just probably going to mess a whole bunch of stuff up
Yeah.
and ain't that just the way that crypto's ain't that just the way crypto goes.
And you love the panic of it because like 2020, they had 18,744 projects fund, $778 million total, and then 814 million in 2021 with even more projects funding. And they're like, wait a second, but things things are slightly declining into 2022. We better get some investors on this in spring of 2021. Um, like I don't know, these people are just like so, you know, they're they're craven, they're cowards, they're afraid. Every
No,
time something
totally.
doesn't go their way, even slightly, like, well, I mean, it's not people, it's the system, right? It's capitalism,
Sure.
like
The
investor
engine of
capitalism,
capital.
yeah, encourages this sort of shit.
And it's the I guess it was the lack of transparency too of like well of course they're not going to tell anybody
Yeah,
um like of course they're not going to do that because they didn't even do that and there was a huge backlash um just on. I mean, I was just primarily exposed to that in the like indie TTRPG space, but I'm
Mhm.
sure in other kind of sectors and other places and spaces, um, there was also kind of a similar like, don't do that, cut that out. Why are you doing that? Oh, now we got to figure out what else to do. Um,
Yeah.
because yeah,
I also feel like, I mean, this is maybe an attached thought that I've been thinking about because of recent Twitter discourse about we're doing wheelchairs again, by the way. We're doing the wheelchair discourse again, so and this time the
yeah,
really racist guys are out, so just like get your helmets on. Um
yeah,
but yeah, like there's become kind of this uh like crypto and AI and like all this stuff has kind of become attached to like ideology, and like obviously it always would, um, but it's like surprising the extent to which it has, where it's like uh, you know, you see like just 100,000 fucking memes that are like being like instead of, it's basically the new Wojak. Like instead of doing a Wojak, you make an AI art of like your opponent depicted as the sniveling child in the wheelchair, and you as the knight in shining armor Chad. Um,
yeah.
and it's sad. And I feel like this feels connected to it in a way that I can't necessarily fully identify, but like I don't know. It's kind of the same. It's the same machine. It's the same like uh in shitification with like this kind of gnarly ideological underpinning to it.
No, totally. Like, I was just thinking about that. I saw something recently. It was just a Tumblr post, um, that was talking about like public transportation in America. It's terrible. Um, and like part, if not the like major reason why, is because um, when you look a couple steps back, it's like just like racism. It's just like straight up racism,
Yeah.
as to why like public transit systems were dismantled, and um, why like owning and having a car was so heavily incentivized. Um, and like, it's just racism for a billion other things. But a Tumblr user, somebody was just writing some stuff and was like, well, it's because racism is a convenient excuse as well.
Mhm.
It's like going to be always the excuse for capitalism, and like that makes sense. But I do also think racism is just an end of itself as well. like it's just part of the package. Like it doesn't have to be an excuse um to generate more profits or whatever the case might be for your standard capitalist who wants to sell more cars or whatever. um and like I think that is also a something that's very much found when it comes to like crypto and AI. And um I mean, when it comes to AI art in specific, there was and continues to be just kind of like, oh, you're finally going to be obsolete.
Right.
We're democratizing art.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to hide your skill and talent behind um whatever kind of ivory tower they think like Twitter artists have built. um Now anybody's going to be able to just plug in trending on ArtStation into like OpenAI or whatever the case may be, and come up with something that um looks like awful concept art.
Right.
um but yeah, I guess it's one of those things where I'm just kind of like, um part of it is profit, but also part of it is just because these people are kind of like part of the part of the bigotry is the reason as well, I suppose.
Yeah. Like yeah,
Yeah,
it's the purpose. It's like it's all it's all kind of connected. It's all like the things that they sell others and the things that they tell themselves and the things that they like,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
It's sucks. Um yeah, I think that's enough for that story. It sucks basically.
yeah. It sucks.
Yeah. Um,
Crazy development, y'all. Crypto sucks.
Crypto very good. I think we'll do the second story and then we will take a quick break. Um, next we're gonna talk about Daggerheart, which is the beta. Uh, sorry, I said beta and then my brain was like cucked. No, the the beta, the beta release of Critical Role's new game, which is interesting. It's it's D&D. Like
It is D&D.
fundamentally it's D&D. Um so uh this is a 377 page document. I skimmed quite a bit. Um but you know, it has classes, it has like uh heritages, which are kind of your like, race, species, and ancestry stuff, and then what was the last thing? It has like a background thing.
6 stats.
6 stats. It has a kind of neat thing, which is domain cards, where it's like it's a card based like it's basically magic. Like they have like, cards that have different things, and like depending on your class, you have different cards. Um, and these are like kind of like your spells, which I think is a fun idea. It's neat. Um, uh, yeah, I know the sheet for this also has the sidecar, which is pretty cool, where like you put one sheet under another, and then you like pull one to the side, and it like explains all the different details to you, which is neat. I don't know. You read this more in depth than I did, is my understanding. What do you think of all this?
Yeah, I was spending kind of all day today and yesterday just like reading through this. I guess there is a game that's coming out recently that I was interested in. Because I'd like caught the tail end of some just kind of discussion about it on Twitter or whatever,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, I guess there's a new game and it's like D&D again. Um like it is D&D. Um there are some parts of it that I actually thought was pretty interesting. Um some of the stuff like, oh man, I'm gonna have to take a look at it. It's also 377 pages, and
It
like
is.
I went on the Twitter page for the lead designer. His name is Spencer Stark.
Hmm.
Um, and he'd written a tweet recently that was basically just kind of like, it's 377 pages now. It's probably when we kind of do an editing pass and pare it down and do all the things that we need to do to get it together. It'll be like 250 and change. Um, which like good progress, y'all.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's good.
it's good. Like there's some good stuff here. There's some good stuff that I kind of enjoyed. The cards wasn't too bad. I felt like it was like part magic, part like, I guess I blessedly have never read fourth edition
Oh,
where
right,
they
yeah.
do where they do like ability cards kind of like
Listen,
this.
you got to be careful because there are some 4E heads in my chat who will rip you apart.
um I mean, no, I don't have any special love or hate for 4E. I just know that this was a thing that seemed to remind me of it. um
Yeah.
there was a few of the like downtime out of combat stuff um that I kind of liked. One of the things I really liked, was which I was very surprised about, um is taking a look at the ancestries, and they've got like concept art.
Oh yeah,
um
Yeah, this stuff is good. I will say, I think a lot of the class stuff is kind of boring, and like I think some of it is neat, but a lot of it is like, well, actually, honestly, I think the fighter stuff is just bad. Like, warrior is not very good. I think they need to get more
no, yeah,
interesting with it. Like, it's a lot of plus ones when it should be more like weird techniques that you can do. But that's
yeah.
just my opinion. Uh, We love a wizard, though.
The wizard wasn't bad. Uh, um,
Cool ancestry art. Good shit.
yeah, like I actually really enjoyed the ancestry art, and I think like this is kind of one of the strengths of this. Like, I mean, this might be kind of mean to say, but it's a very like it's a kind of bog standard kind of like fantasy setting. It's a high fantasy setting.
Hmm.
There are, you know, there are swords and there is wizardry and like there are, I mean, they've got a dragonborn, they've got tieflings, they've got halflings, they've got elves and dwarves. Um, a lot of the it's it's clear where they took their inspiration from. Um, but like this kind of concept art that they included, which I'm really happy they did. Like I think
Hmm.
it shows part of the strength. Just like letting it seems like they just kind of let the concept artists go and
Yeah.
like make fun little like variations on everything. Um, One of the things I really liked, the clank, the like God, what are they called in D&D?
Robot people or like
The robot
Warforged.
people. They're warforged. The clank, the warforged. I wasn't expecting this. They have little like different designs for the other ancestries for the other like fantasy races. So
Oh,
you've got
fun.
one that kind of looks like a one of the frog people, and there's one that looks like a dragonborn, and there was one that um there's a whole section when it comes to like kind of playing with a character who's disabled. That was cool.
Yeah.
Um
I'm
critical role is woke. There's a pronouns
there.
section.
Yeah.
There's a pronouns section in the game. Um like I think if you're like they're obviously shooting for. I think if you want to go for this kind of
Oh
like
shit, hang on. Sorry. Sorry, someone asked me something and I just accidentally opened it. Okay,
you're good.
we're good.
Um I think if you're gonna go for this kind of like pan fantasy setting,
Mhm.
like this is one of the ways to do it. Like show what's cool and unique about your setting.
Get a little silly with it,
Um
I think.
Get a little silly with it. Like the mushroom people and the frogs, people are loving those. I can see it. I might be tempted to play frog if I ever touch this with a 10-foot pole.
Mhm.
Uh, I guess like
N no turns in a game with to hit is really interesting, and I don't know how I feel about it. I kind of feel like it's
yeah,
like a I like here's the thing. I'm the person who would be the most open to like that sort of thing, but I'm also like I I think that there's some utility in keeping a turn order for certain types of games. Um, Even if it's a more loose turn order, like
yeah,
I think that you have a lot going on here, and I think that you kind of run the risk of the person who knows their character the best taking the spotlight every time, which
yeah,
you know.
and like that's I guess that is probably going to be my biggest critique of the game. Um, like it's clear,
Nations, range.
like it is kind of there's a wonderful right before the call, right before we started the stream, I like found this PC Gamer article. Um and it's titled Critical Role's homebrew TTRPG Daggerheart is now in open beta, and the good news is it's nothing like D&D. False. Very false. To say it's nothing like D&D, but in one part the author Harvey Randall, he writes
You have a heart of gold.
what
Don't
does
let
he
them
say?
take it
But the
from you.
more you look at it, the game, the more you realize that's not a wizard. That's a bunch of narrative systems in a trench coat. Um, like there's a clocks mechanic um, that I think like serves this kind of game well. And it would be a cool kind of thing for like DMs to use in a kind of D&D campaign. Um, there's a lot of like resource management when it comes to like how armor works, and how like You have a couple different health bars or whatever.
I love having
There's
physical and magical weapons. That's really fun.
that is fun. I like that.
Hmm.
Um, the like main resources, the hope and the fear.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's an interesting idea. I also think that a lot of it gets bogged down by the fact that like a lot of the game feels like it was written trying to like idiot proof it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
by that I mean like it is a very D&D thing. Um where you have these like stories of GMs and players coming to the table and like in bad faith or just trying to like kind of have fun trying to like hack something out of the system, and there's a lot of like groans and head rolls, and so the rules have to be written in this kind of like very exacting style where it's like um if you do this, then this particular thing is going to happen. um like I see it a lot with the like level 0 or like the innate abilities of the classes where it's like, oh, you've got this thing, you've got this like harmless thing, or you've got this common thing.
Mhm.
um and it's just kind of like it just kind of it's probably why this ended up being nearly 400 pages.
Something bad is
Because
gonna happen.
every rule needs to be like have an additional sentence where it's just talking about like where it's just clarifying exactly what would happen. um or yeah, I think I think that's like probably my biggest problem with the game is that it kind of gets itself kind of gets in the way of itself a lot.
Yeah.
um
Oh, this is really interesting. Molly pointed towards this list of touchstones. So, 13th Age, Apocalypse Keys, Apocalypse World, Blades in the Dark, City of Mist, Cortex Prime, Cypher System, Dishonored, Dungeons and Dragons, Flea Mortals, For the Queen, Genesis, Lady Blackbird, Masks, New Generation, Pathfinder, Shadowrun, The Quiet Year, Wild Sea, Slug Blaster. That's a lot. Um,
oh man, if you're drawing inspiration from Shadowrun, you need to go back to the drawing board.
Dragon Age Inquisition. Oh no. Shit.
It's also very fascinating seeing a Wizard of Earthsea in there. Like, I, um, no,
No.
like
Yeah.
it's fine if you like. It's fine for this to be like Molly said earlier on. Like, it's fine if this winds up being like a slightly above average D&D
Mhm.
or something like that. It's fine. Like, it's they're playing to their strengths. I guess part of what disappoints me about this game is like it feels a lot like that picture that's like, oh, look at this sad recently like freed circus bear that was just released from its cage that it lived in its whole life, but it's just like turning in a circle. Like, it feels kind of like this where
Hmm.
it's like, y'all, you can go crazy. Like, it's clear that y'all have read like cool games and you're excited about a lot of the stuff that you read in them, and you kind of started to like staple half-assed versions of those games to D&D. But you don't have to be so beholden to D&D. Let your hearts be free. Go go and run wild, go and explore. Like, go crazy with it. um
Make something that'll be really good for an AP. Like make something that's actually rules light, right?
yeah, exactly. Like, I like and it is funny that this is like a Critical Role, a Darrington Press or whatever it's called, but it's like Critical Role's company or whatever the hell it's called. um because like a lot of it feels like a right step when it comes to an AP. Like, you
Hmm.
mentioned the initiative system, I liked that. I felt like it was a good step for an AP, to have that be kind of like a fluid give and take.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, that is that's good. Having like players manage resources when it comes to like, here's something I can do. I'm gonna go ahead and spend a hope to do this thing and to add a +1 or whatever um to my to my role. But then there's some other stuff that's just kind of like, why is this here? Like why exactly does this need to be here? Like the hope and fear thing
Mhm. Mhm.
is weird. It's
Yeah.
it's very weird.
I
It's a very strange system to have be named hope and fear,
mhm.
because like on the one hand, it's clear that they were started from a point of like, okay, this is going to be a resource that players and GMs will like kind of have a give and take with. Um, Having a player like manage a powerful resource, good idea, like that. But then having it kind of be arbitrarily tied to like dice rolls
Right.
is weird.
Uh,
It's so weird.
Molly is pointing out that it's basically just the dark side, light side points from Star Wars FFG. I wanted to point out, like, here's my thing about this. I think when you make a game, you have to know what you're putting in it on some level, right? Like, you have to be like, these are the things that this game prioritizes. Um, like, I'm not adding weapon tables to Sapphic World, right? Because that's just not the thing that game does. And like,
Yeah.
if you go in and you're like, I'm gonna put in every mechanic from all of my favorite games, you're going to wind up with a mess. And I know this is in beta, but like, I think I think some selections have to be made about what they want to prioritize here. Honestly,
No, totally.
because I've seen
Like,
games, I've seen PBTAs with to hit and damage, like Riley Hopkins Zombie Survivalist Second Edition, which like you know I think is a pretty good game. It never got finished, but I think it's pretty good game. We played it for It's Up to You really. It like that game is a PBTA with like to hit and damage, and it feels very like classic like fantasy game-ish. But this is just a mess. This is just a fucking mess.
no, it absolutely is. Um, like the one of the things that really surprised me, I was like, damn, you can really like squeeze some real high damage numbers out of your characters. Um, but like it kind of doesn't matter because you're dealing damage to try and take a point off of like one of the two health bars that everything in the world has. And so like you've taken a step forward when it comes to like the kind of the fluid initiative system. This seems cool. This seems like you're not just going to be like stuck waiting. You're kind of engaged and looking for like kind of ways to play and to play around your teammates or whatever. And then you take a step back because like now you're kind of plinking away at each other, because it doesn't matter how high the damage numbers you roll are. It's like you're still going to be kind of continuing to plink away, plink 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 plink. It's like, oh, now you took off 2 hit points from the bandit that you were attacking or whatever. And he uh
I love to
and
plink.
yeah, we all love to plink. Plinking is my favorite activity
Yeah.
as a wizard.
Um. So yeah, I guess in conclusion, I'm interested to see how this plays, and if anyone does play it, let me know how it goes. Like I'm very curious about that.
Oh my
Um.
god, wait, I have one other thing.
Okay.
Um, Possibly the most important thing about Daggerheart. Um, I get the zip yesterday night, and I open it, and I start kind of going through it. I don't realize that the playtest manuscript is 377 pages long. So I guess I was just kind of wandering around, being like, "Oh, all of these are really short. I wonder where like the meat of the game is." Um, but then I open the quick start, um, the quick start guide.
How long is this quick start? I actually haven't looked
The
at it.
quick the quick start adventure is 40 pages long, but like it seems like every other page is a kind of like small deck and character
Okay,
sheet
yeah.
for the NPCs and stuff. Um, and so I opened this one and I start reading, and I'm like, okay, Sablewood Messengers, like, okay, alrighty. And then I scroll down one page and did this, and like this character is my first introduction to this world. Um, her name is Marlowe Fairwind,
Hmm.
and her thighs are insane. She has like the biggest, pillowiest
Hang
thighs.
on.
These thigh highs that are coming up to here, and there's a little bit of like muffin coming out that like they're just so. It's second page, literally second
Second
page.
page. A quick start. Oh, damn. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, hang on.
You see what I mean. I was floored. I was gonna die laughing of just like seeing having this character be my introduction to this game, and she's just like she is so absurdly thick.
God, you could
Like
you could
she has
cast like an elementary school projector on those things. Like,
you absolutely could. Um
uh,
yeah, it was just kind of like I was stunned, I was shocked.
it's pretty
I
awesome.
was very I was like, okay, well, I was
Now
like,
they
wait,
got
hold
you.
on, maybe this game is good.
It's a good game, actually.
It's kind of a good game. There are women in this game?
They got
No,
women in
hold
this
on.
one?
They have
Awesome.
women in this one. It's
Okay.
woke like that.
We're gonna take five,
Um,
I think. And
okay.
we'll be back at 06, whatever that hour is for you. So yeah, see y'all in five. Be right back. Hello, everyone. I just realized Cordus the Mailbird is late. Cordus, you gotta get over here. There we go. Okay, Cordus is here.
This
Okay.
was so whimsical. I love that.
I love the whimsy. Yeah. Sometimes I forget the birds. I forgot the birds in the beginning, and I didn't say anything about it. I just kind of adjusted, um, and that's okay. Um,
Wait. I have one more thing to say about Daggerheart.
please.
It's actually a really good game. There are catboys. That's it.
That's true. That's true. Listen.
There's a whole race of catboys. Okay, that's it. No more.
Awesome. All right. So next story. Polygon. As always, it's Charlie Hall. As always, like it's always Charlie Hall, right? Like if there's some nonsense, if there's some TTRPG nonsense going on Polygon, it's Charlie Hall. Um, Award-winning Zweihander RPG is back from the dead with a new edition on Kickstarter. I'm not even going to look at this article. So, uh, this is just a reminder. A lot of stuff. Just we've looked at this already, but like, listen, I'm just gonna post the thread in Twitch. Give a look at what Daniel harasses people. Daniel Fox thinks is normal fantasy, and you'll understand what the issue is. Daniel Fox also uses AI. Tells multiple marginalized people to ignore harassment. Patchful foot and mouth syndrome. Calls himself a native passing white. I'm the developer of the game. Uh, yeah, just um, he's he's not good. He's
Yeah.
not a cool guy, and he shouldn't. I Polygon should not be like spreading the word about this. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he also destroyed the trove, which if you're normal, you should be mad about because the trove was like really useful for folks who couldn't afford TTRPGs. If you're a normal person who
Wait.
makes TTRPGs, you shouldn't care that there was a place where you could just get them.
Wait. Oh my God. Wait. That's
Yeah, he's the
right.
reason why the trove went down because he got mad about
God.
Zweihander being uh fucking on there, which is like great. You just ruined like TTRPG archival for everyone because you personally don't want people reading your books without paying. Like, um,
Yeah.
yeah, real piece of shit. I actually don't have much more to say about him. Um, get him out of here. Boo.
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 I don't. I mean, I don't know what possessed me. But I did go and get it's at the bottom of the article. They just link to the campaign page, and then they
Okay.
also has a link to Drive Through RPG.
Oh no. Oh, do we want to look at
At
this?
for this, I mean, honestly,
I'd have to add it to my cart. Fucking. I
yeah, I know
drive through. Come on.
it's also Drive Through RPG, so it took me like 10 years just to get a PDF.
No.
But like, yeah, I picked up the quick start guide because I think I'd like I have thank blessedly not read anything else from him or about Zweihander, but like just what I'm reading is very it's just bad.
Yeah.
Not a fan. And then and like part of this is kind of personal taste because like the kind of like very stringent kind of percentile dice OSR type games just like never really appealed to me. Um but it's also just a lot of the writing. Um this is also another one of these games that I feel like was written from a position of like, I have to make sure that none of the players have any fun whatsoever. Um, I
uh,
have to make sure that everything is utterly utterly idiot proofed. Nobody can have any fun ever when it comes to playing this game. Um, and that's just so it's just so boring.
fuck off.
It's a fuck off moment. It absolutely is. And then you throw in all of the like just just the absurd amounts of like racism and sexism and bigotry and just everything that's going on in these games that is excused, quote unquote, with just it being like a grimdark fantasy. Grimdark fantasy, I'm over it.
I'm done with it. I want creatures. I want to fly on the wings of the creature.
I would love to fly on wings of the creature, yeah.
I want the creature to know my name and smile me every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that's the news, I think.
Yeah, fuck this guy.
Yeah, fuck this guy. Fuck this guy in particular. Make this one suffer. Not anyone in particular. Just like I'm telling like the entities. I'm telling the entities to do this. I'm telling the spirits to do this. Um,
No, yeah, totally.
yeah. Let's read some mail. We got some mail. Please, if you have any questions, please send them to darlingdemoneclipse@gmail.com. We are taking your questions. Um,
Oh my god.
there we go.
Oh.
That's Apocrypha, the mailbird. Um,
Oh.
yeah. Here with our mail. Uh, First of all, we have, as always, VIP question asker, Goblin, aka, aka, Skibidi Data. Um, yeah, we got 6 questions from Goblin, which is wonderful. Um, so, this is a great question. I have some answers to this, but I don't think mine are probably as useful. Question that I think is very applicable to you. Um, how would you price? I guess this is probably better. How do you price art commissions for TTRPG clients? Are there any differences in how you do that?
Oh woof. Oh, I'm withered. I've been afflicted. Yeah, this is actually a really great question, and it's something that I have and I continue to struggle with.
Mhm.
Um, because like doing commissions on a kind of like individual personal basis is one thing. Um, but and like there's a ton of common ground, I should say,
Mhm.
because a lot of it is just kind of like honestly knowing your worth. Um, and by that I mean you should pretty much 9 times out of 10 be charging more than you are probably asking for.
Right.
Um, more than you probably feel comfortable asking for is probably the best bet. Um, like if you're sitting down and really considering what exactly that you're like offering for the client, be they a furry on the internet, um, or a kind of indie TTRPG darling, um, like it is pretty much always a safe bet, especially if it's something that you feel uncomfortable about. Like you should be asking for more money. It's something that I struggle with continually to this day. Asking people for money is kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's definitely hard, and it is a skill you have to build up. But when it comes to TTRPG in particular, um, it's one of those things that I definitely do on a case by case basis. Like I've had, um, I've had people come up to like approach me, suppose, and digitally on Discord, what,
Mhm.
um, and be like, "Hey, can I have some information for your commissions in regards to um like a TTRPG project?" And like if it's one individual kind of doing this, then I'm kind of way more lenient when it comes to my pricing. Like I'm happy to work with somebody, um, even if it doesn't necessarily include money. Um, but I have had kind of folks approach me from like with Yazibas and with the folks that wrote tournament art.
I can
Their
figure that out. Hang on.
yeah. Um, wait, is that
Uh,
really their name?
Biscuit Fun Games.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
When it came to them, it was one of those things where it was like I definitely have to. I mean, this is one of those things where it's like it helped me to have Sasha there with me, who was pretty much just the entire time being like, "You should charge
Yeah.
more." You absolutely should charge more. And it was also one of those situations where, like, especially with the Yazibas, um, they were very prepared. They came to the table prepared to like with a budget in mind. Um, and I told them a price, and they were like, "Okay, well, how about we pay you way more than that?" I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
"Okay, you totally can."
Good.
You and like it's one of those things where it's like I didn't necessarily feel bad because like Possum Creek Games, the Kickstarter or the Indiegogo for Yazivas was like crazy.
Yeah. A lot of money.
Um, they can afford it.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I say probably the biggest skill when it comes to it is just like is picking up that confidence, um, and knowing your worth and knowing how to price accordingly. And like you're going to underprice your commissions. I have multiple times. I probably continue to do so. Um, and it causes me consternation. Um,
Aren't
and I
some of
end
it.
up regretting it and being like, yeah, it's just it's part of the process of like learning to be, I suppose, like an artist who is working on commission professionally. Um, professionally, quote unquote, I say in like a kind of space like TTRPGs, or on kind of a personal peer to peer kind of thing, like with furries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's professional too if you're a furry artist, I should say. It's definitely a job. It's just like the clientele are totally different. And what is being asked of you is totally different. Like the art that I've did for Yazibas and for Tournament Arc, and the art that I do for my own tabletop games, it's a very different thing than the art that I do um, for folks who want to commission me to draw their persona or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, yes. I hope that helped. I don't know if it did.
Yeah. Hopefully. Also, you mentioned furries, so I do have to. Wait. Why is the show transition? Why is that fade really off? Oh no. I guess it's just really fast. Okay. There we go. Anyways.
Hell yeah.
Uh. Uh. Question two, actually, on the topic of furries. Um. What piece of furry media do you think is the most ripe for for a TTRPG to take inspiration from? Hmm.
Hmm.
I oh, um, I mean furry porn. It's I guess like the
Furry,
easiest
no,
answer.
no, yeah. The furry porn artists are the Atlas holding up the world. Truly the foundation of everything. Um, I've taken a ton of inspiration from furry porn.
Yeah,
Um, when it comes to my games and my art, I think honestly, people get precious about it because teehee porn, and especially nowadays with like the kind of puritanical push by corporations and conservatives to outlaw porn, it's like a whole thing. But like porn is actually a really great place of inspiration. Um, technically, I should say when it comes to like kind of skills as an artist. Um, but I suppose also thematically,
Yeah.
narratively.
Well, because,
Yeah.
like, a fetish is just an ability by another name, right? Like,
No, totally.
you can, like, there's some real stuff that you can do there, right?
A fetish is a muse. Like
Yeah.
there have been great works of art that have been crafted for the specific purpose of fulfilling a fetish. Um, and like, yeah, I definitely that's like part of the thing when it comes to my art, whether that be like the stuff that I draw or the stuff that I write or the stuff that I or the games I design. Like, it's a good 50% horny most of the time.
Mhm.
Um, like, and whether or not that winds up explicit by the very end um is something else. Um, I will say though, as far as like furry, I'm extremely biased. Because I love thieves and heist movies.
Mhm.
Um, I adore people who steal, and I like heists. I think it's very fun. I recently watched The Bad Guys again. I've already watched it.
Oh yeah, heard that
Um,
was good.
yeah, it's great. It's actually really really well done. And it, I mean, the inspiration that that movie takes, um, particularly from like Lupin the Third stuff,
Mhm.
um, it's clear, and I really like it. Honestly, I think just more things should just like be about furries. I don't think there needs to be a reason for. Sometimes it's like with Daggerheart, it's like, oh, their ancestries where you're like a frog or whatever. No, just like make everybody a furry. You know,
Yeah,
just
agreed.
have just have just have everybody in this setting be a furry.
No humans. Yeah. No, totally.
No humans.
Yeah, good. Hell yeah.
Hmm.
Um, Next question. Question 3. What, if anything, do you think TTRPGs succeed at, or sorry, what, if anything, do you think early TTRPGs succeed at that modern TTRPGs struggle with? Um, I actually let me send these to you as I ask them. Um, I mean, I think that there's a lot of I think there's a lot more like troop play style stuff in older RPGs that I'd really like to see come back, like bringing your campaign to another table of people, or like bringing your world to another table of people, or like bringing your
Hmm.
character to another world. Like I think there's a lot more like interchangeability that's really fun that I'd like to see more of. Um, yeah, that would be my answer.
I do really really like that. And you bringing up Troop also reminded me of Troop.
The troop,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, by
uh,
the TTRPG.
yeah,
That's being written by
the
Trish.
Seance, yeah, Trish,
Um, love that one.
yeah, good
Um,
game.
but what do I think old TTRPGs do? I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? Where it's like, um, in a weird way, and there's a lot to criticize. There's so much to criticize. One of the things that I liked was that there wasn't a lot of like in a weird way, older TTRPGs were kind of sharp.
Hmm.
They could just kind of cut to the point of what exactly, like, you read some of the like old Lord of the Rings RPGs, and it's like, here's the kind of characters you can be. You can be like a ranger, you can be like a wizard, you can be like a dwarf. That's just like a class.
Yeah,
Um, you could be like a half foot. That's also a class. That's like a whole. That's a whole kit and caboodle. Um, that like and like obviously there's a just a boatload of really awful problematic stuff that um comes along with the way that those kinds of older TTRPGs were. Um, they were often very racist or misogynist, I should say. Um, and it's stuff like that that like Zweihander takes kind of inspiration from. Stuff like
Yeah,
Zweihander takes inspiration from.
the worst parts.
Um,
Hmm.
the worst parts, exactly. But there was stuff that's there. It's stuff like that when I would go back and read those like old TTRPGs where I was like, that's kind of an interesting decision that was made, and it was
Mhm.
made because like they'd read or they watched or they read Lord of the Rings because they didn't have movies back then. I mean, they
Yeah,
did, but like not
not the
not the
Lord of the
Peter
Rings
Jackson films.
movies. Yeah.
They had like the Rankin Bass Hobbit or whatever. Um, like they watched it and they were just kind of like, well, Gimli is just a dwarf, and
Hmm.
maybe all dwarves are like him. Um, but they were kind of interesting decisions that would ultimately be like fucked up by the fact that you needed to roll a percentile dice and then
To
like
do anything.
cross reference it with like a graph for like
Ugh.
percentage of like success in your
Send
action.
me home. I don't want to be here. Yeah.
Like that is ultimately it, like it shoots itself in the foot in that respect where it's kind of like okay. um but yeah, I like that part. I do enjoy when in the brief moments um when older TTRPGs were kind of sharp, they just kind of brought assumptions to the table. They just kind of made decisions. Um, they didn't try to be precious about like ancestry or whatever. They didn't try to be
Mhm.
precious about it because they were fine being racist,
Right. Yeah.
which is important to note. Um, but I guess that's one of those things in modern TTRPGs that I kind of like that it kind of calls back to when it comes to OSR games, like
Yeah.
games that kind of make assumptions for you um, as the player and kind of have you work through that. That's cool.
Great. Molly says they didn't have Madam Web. They didn't have Madam Web, so they didn't really have
Oh
movies. That's so true.
no, no, they didn't. You know what? I watched Madam Web twice.
Still have not seen it. I don't. I don't want to.
It's so good. It's kind of insanely good, actually.
Her web connects us
Um,
all.
her web does connect us all.
Yeah. Uh,
I'm probably gonna watch it a third time
awesome.
with
Our next
friends.
question is virtual tabletops are a very new field in this already young medium. How do you think this will affect the evolution of TTRPGs? Is there anything exclusive to virtual spaces that you think should be focused on for more interesting experiences? Um, I
Mm.
hmm. I think I think that we are going to see things move to virtual because I think it's a very like you know accessible, well accessible from like a you don't have to go out for it way, not in a like you do need the technology for it, right? Um,
No, totally.
but I do think like we're going to see more and more of it. We're going to see more games building for it. Um, and I think that like I'd really like to see it use more of the like interactive elements. I'd also really like to see like more like OMM style, like more One More Multiverse style VTTs where it's not about a like it's not about producing the best like table, like the best mat for playing a like fantasy game, but it's more about like creating the best role-playing environment, like the best kind of Habbo Hotel Neopets ass like I guess not Neo, like
No,
Club
yeah.
Penguin like role-playing like tableau. I think that's really fun.
Yeah. No, yeah. I that is one thing about OMM that I really liked. Um and I think even like I like what you said about like we're going to see more games like building for this kind of stuff or having it in mind. Um I think because yeah, I mean, it's just like planning and holding your sessions like digitally um is just like more convenient, especially if you're not in the same city as the people you're playing with. Um, my experiences with virtual tabletops have been Well, you know what? It was a D&D campaign that I was playing. And it was not the best, but there was a lot about it that I really enjoyed. Um, that just kind of like streamlined a lot of stuff about D&D that deserved to be streamlined. Um,
Yeah.
and I like that. I think I also really enjoyed because this isn't necessarily the question, but it also reminded me of like um kind of like asynchronous games that take place over like text.
Yeah, like play
Um
by post, yeah.
yeah. Um because that's something that I've definitely um played around with.
Mhm.
And I have a game that I'm writing with. It's a secret. Shh.
Oh.
Um yeah, it's a secret project of mine.
Oh.
Um but it's but it is a game that I'm writing primarily with like it's going to be like a play by post asynchronous thing. And that is a very interesting challenge to write for.
Yeah.
I think writing a game and having it in mind that like your players aren't going to be face to face. They might not even be in the same time, like in the same digital space at the same time. Um, like it's a unique challenge to like consider what would work best for something like that. Um, I think more games should do it
Yeah,
because yeah, play by post is fun.
absolutely. Okay, we have more. Um, let's see. Uh, oh. Oh, okay, I see. Um, next question is, how do you think magic could be included within TTRPGs without making it simply another science? By that I mean without definite rules and parameters and laws. How do you make a system of rules for something that doesn't follow rules? Um,
You can't
I
see me, but I'm rubbing my paws together.
yeah, I think what you do is you make it very narrative. Like I mean, the magic system like I'm the most proud of is the Sapphic World one, where it's just there are names of spells, and then you say what you want a spell to do, and then you roll to see how close it is to that thing, and like it's either it happens the way you want it to, it helps you in a way that you don't expect it to, or it isn't the spell that you cast. It's like another spell. Um,
Cool.
yeah, like I think that you really have to get really loosey goosey with it and make it not fully in the control of the players,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's not magic. Otherwise that just makes it like another. It's just another science, right? It's mathematical.
No, totally. And like I have so many wizard opinions. I it's something about the like kind of modern TTRPG conception of wizards that I very much like. Like Daggerheart does it too. D&D's like magic nerd kind of archetype for wizards, where it's
Mhm.
like they learn spells out of a book, and it's a very kind of like academic process. That's like annoying. Um, that is what we've ended up at as just like a culture, I suppose, where it's like the main idea of a wizard is just kind of like a nerd who's a nerd about the magic that they're doing, the magic.
Nerd about magic.
Um,
Yeah, no.
like I'm a nerd about magic, but like not a nerd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I guess a lot of my I'm trying to think about which of my games have like magic be a part of it.
You're a
Um,
wizard.
well, you know what? I didn't even think about that. I'm gonna be so real with you. Your Wizard is all about magic, and it's one of those. I mean, like it is probably the polar opposite, where there are basically no rules to how the magic functions in You Are a Wizard. There's a very simple like you take a move. You Are a Wizard is kind of a like token economy game,
Mhm.
but in the loosest sense, there's no rules. You just do it whenever you want. Um, and that kind of extends into the way like magic functions because like you don't necessarily even have to have tokens to spend them in wizard game. um I don't think I ever wrote that as a rule
Right.
that you need to have tokens to spend them. You can just do magic, and there are basically no rules for how magic functions. Um, so it is a very free form thing, and it can get like as quote unquote powerful as you want. But like that feels the best to me. I guess that's the thing about like D&D and D&D esques that have always like I've always like rubbed up against. Like reading through Daggerheart and seeing the like descriptions of some of the like innate magic abilities of being like, oh, you produce the prestidigitation as text of like you produce a small harmless effect. Um, like no, kill
No.
someone.
Magic should do awesome stuff, and epic cool stuff is the thing.
Magic shouldn't have, and then this is a very like it's inspired by my conception of magic is inspired by like Howl's Moving Castle, um, the Earthsea cycle,
Mhm.
big Earthsea cycle, but kind of like if the wizards from Earthsea cycle were all like idiots who were fucking each other,
Yeah.
instead of like principled or whatever they are in Earthsea. Um, like that's where a lot of my magic inspiration comes from. Like magic is a powerful thing. It can do amazing things, and I don't think there needs to be a lot of rules about it.
Have you played Seven Part Pact?
I have played Seven Park Pact.
Yeah.
I have I have opinions. Um, I actually really enjoyed as far as like it's funny because like the magic system in Seven Part Pact is like very explicitly based on a kind of like a pseudoscience,
Mhm.
astrology. Um, and I thought it was really interesting. I liked the magic system. Um, I liked like doing spells because I did a playtest a long time ago before I guess like the most recent edition of the game came out. Molly was there. Hi, Molly. I don't
Hi,
know if you're still
Molly.
around. Um, but that was one of the things that I really appreciated, and I liked kind of how fiddly it was. If you're not going to do, if you're not going to just like go crazy and let magic be freeform and wild, the other best thing you can do is to like turn it around and make it a kind of like intricate fiddly system, but don't make
Mhm.
it boring. Spell slots are boring.
Yes,
Having
absolutely.
having the word harmless in your spell descriptions is boring.
Yeah.
Like like that is very much kind of like I'm rolling my eyes. This is not what I consider magic. You have a magic gun and you have a limited number of bullets. Like it's fine if you want to have a magic gun. Magic guns have their place in games.
Yeah.
It's easier. It's less to put on a player and a GM if you just have a gun that does a magic thing every time you pull the trigger. Um, but like I very much enjoyed that part of Seven Part Pact. Um, where I kind of like it was a very much process of like I feel like I'm reading the stars, kind of having to like parse something out of this.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, wizards, it,
Wizards, baby.
um, wizards, baby. There's like
Spells.
if I might if I can say one more thing about
Yeah,
this.
absolutely.
Um, I have a game idea that I've been thinking a lot more about. And it's actually one that I've published something about. It was for the like the quote pleasure card, the like opposite of a business card. Pleasure
Mhm.
card RPG jam, where it's like you write a game a on like something the size of a business card.
Right.
Um, and I wrote Alphabet Soup Bits edition. Um, and Alphabet Soup is a it was like a post-apocalyptic like kind of psychedelic science fantasy setting that I've been brewing for a very long time. Um, its system of how it did like the psychic powers
Mhm.
was very much like Wizard Game, where it's kind of like um, you pop a pill and then you just kind of like do psychic shit.
Hell yeah.
But if I if and I'll say when because I'm aspirationally,
Yes.
I'm self-actualizing. Um, when I put it into a larger game, part of the thing that I wanted to do is to have the pills have a be associated with a letter,
Hmm.
and um when you take one, your power manifests according to a word you select. Um that starts with that letter.
Oh, that's fun.
Um and then there's like a larger system that I would like where it's kind of like you can take a whole bunch of the pills and kind of like manufacture a more complex like solution that uses each of the letters to like spell out a definite word, and so the effect is a lot more powerful or pronounced. um that is something that I enjoy. That's a kind of like the other end of like this is kind of fiddly, but I it's fiddly in an interesting way.
Hell yeah.
Not to
Um,
jerk myself off too hard, but
no, you're good. It sounds very cool. Um, last question from Goblin, which I think might just be the last question of the show because I gotta get moving. Um, some of my favorite furry media has a lot of dissonance in it, with species and reality being fluid. How do you think TTRPGs could play within that strange space? I think just TF, like having TF in your game really helps with that, and like TF that's permanent or TF that's like impermanent that kind of like shifts and changes. I think is really useful there.
sorry, I was
Transformation that
coughing.
is the coffer,
I'm the cover right now. Okay,
the
I'm
fucking
better.
coffer.
Um, yeah, that TF is honestly, once again, more games should have TF,
Yeah.
or just kind of explore the ramifications of the TF that already exists in it, like D&D druids, the like
Hmm.
wild shape thing. It's like there's not a lot of thought that goes into like what exactly this means for the character. It's just kind of like, and I use my special power, wild shape, and I become a tiger, and there are no consequences.
Oh, I have a polymorph
Um,
that actually gives me bull strength. Fuck you. Makes you big and round.
yes. um, yeah, that would actually be really, really interesting. Both in like, well, like honestly, the the Venn diagram of horror and fetish
Hmm.
are very, very. They're basically a circle.
They're shaking hands,
Um,
kissing, pressing
that's
boobs,
kissing.
etc.
That's something about like Earthsea, and also I forgot to mention. Oh my god, I can't believe I would in the magic question. Terry Pratchett, Discworld,
Mm.
giant, massive inspiration when it comes to magic for me. Um, the way magic is done as Discworld is stupid as hell, and I love it. But there was a very one of his earlier books. It's called Equal Rights, Rites. Um, it's a very transgender book. I really love it. But there's a part. The whole book reads kind of like a parody slash response to a Wizard of Earthsea. Um, and there's a part in both books where the like main character, it's Ged in Earthsea and it's Escarina in Equal Rights. They both basically like shapeshift into birds.
Hmm.
Um, and they fly and fly and fly, but like they spend too long in the shape, and they lose themselves. Um, and in Equal Rights, in particular, there's this like horrifying sequence of Escarina kind of like losing, like literally losing the thread of her consciousness in the like instinctual mind of the bird.
Right.
Um, like that's cool. That's such a cool part of that's such a cool kind of like exploration of like how magic actually functions and how it affects its user in not a like in not a dumb and boring sciencey
Yeah.
way.
I think get loose with it, get weird with it. I
Get
think
weird
is
with it.
the
Yeah,
the thought.
get horny with
Um.
it.
Okay. I'm gonna wrap up just so I have time to eat, because otherwise I would not.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here, Polly. I had a really good time. Uh, it was really
Yeah,
nice
I
having
had
you.
a great time.
Fuck yeah. Um, ye gods, who are we rating? Friends at the Table is
Gods.
playing Helldivers 2. We're gonna raid them. Go say hi, and don't get scared, okay?
Yeah, Helldiver is scary.
And I'll be here next week with Will Jobst, so expect that. And bye
Ooh.
everyone.
Bye.
Where's the? I have so many fucking scenes now. Okay, there we go.
Remember, if you don't like what you see, you can change it. It's up to you, really. Goodbye, good luck, and have fun!